Hi, it's Christine Kretcha from Create with Christine. I'm here with another Tuesday tip video tutorial. And for my project today, we are going to be making this card right here, which features the Spirited Snowmen stamp set. This is from the 2018 holiday catalog. And this card I made for a non-traditional holiday card challenge. So for a color challenge using non-traditional holiday colors. So the colors I picked out came from the Stampin Blends markers. So I picked Poppy Parade, Shaded Spruce, and Petal Pink. So let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you the steps to make this card. So to start off, I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It measured 3 by 3. And then I cut it out with my Big Shot in the largest square in the Stitched Shapes framelits. I'm going to bring over my Memento ink pad and the Snowman couple stamp. I'm just going to ink it up upside down because this is kind of a larger stamp. This works better with larger stamps that don't really fit all the way on the ink pad. I'm just going to give it some good coverage and then stamp that right down in the middle. And when you're using Stampin Blends, you always want to use Memento ink. They're alcohol-based markers. And while I have the ink pad handy, I'm just going to also stamp the sentiment. So we'll bring over the sentiment. I'm going to stamp this and then punch it out with the classic label punch. So let's just bring over my punch. I have it upside down. I'm just going to go in, and it's a pretty tight fit with this stamp set. And I make sure it's centered. And now I am ready to color in my snowmen. So I'm going to bring over a piece of scrap paper. When you're using Stampin Blends, you want to have a piece of scrap paper underneath because they do bleed. The markers do bleed a little bit. So I'm going to start with Petal Pink. This is the only one of the 3 that I just used the dark because Petal Pink's such a light color. The light was super light. So I'm just going to do the scarf of what I'm calling the girl snowman. Snow woman, I guess, is the correct phrase. So I'm going to do the scarf and then kind of the rim of the hat, or the middle part of the hat, just so that it coordinates. Then I'm going to move over to the poppy. So for the poppy, I have my light and my dark. When I'm using blends, I like to start with my light color first, and then add a highlight with the dark, and then blend back with the light. So I went light first, then I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of dark, and then blend that color out. Pretty much you don't want to see the line or... So let's just do the bow. I've got the light first. It's very important that you also put the caps back on immediately when you're using these because you don't want to dry them out at all. So I'm just going to add a highlight down one side on both parts of the bow. Then I'm just going to pick up that line and blend it out. Smooth as butter. let's come over and do the heart. I'm using the skinny side of the marker because these are kind of small areas. I'm just going to do the little berries in her hat too while I have the dark. That's really small, so I'm not going to worry about trying to blend those at all. But let's just come back and blend. And you want to try to blend while it's still a little bit wet to get the color to move. And I'm going to come with the light and kind of do the carrot nose. It's a little dark for a carrot, but it still works. So now I have all my poppy done and I'm ready to do my shaded spruce. So the shaded spruce is pretty obvious. The lighter tone is the light. So I'm just going to do the holly leaves in the hat here. And I'm just going to follow the artist line. There's a couple lines here, and I'm just going to add 3 lines. Then I'll come back and blend those out. Then I'm ready to do the rim, the middle part, not the rim of his hat. And just add a little bit with the dark, and then we're going to blend that with the light. And then with the light, we're just going to do the scarf. Then I'm going to come follow just the artist line in the scarf and kind of follow one side of it to make a highlight. Then come back and blend with my light one more time, and my blending is done. If you do find you go out of the lines a little bit, there is a color lifter that is sold separately. The blends come in a 2-pack or they come individually. And they won't last forever. They do have a shelf life. So there we go. After I had them blended, I went ahead and added Wink of Stella to the snowman bodies. This is a brand new Wink of Stella I just opened kind of last weekend for an event, so this one's got a lot of good juice in it. I know it's probably a little hard to see in the video, but it really gives it a lot of sparkle and shine in person. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see that sparkle, and then see how it bleeds through. Now it didn't really bleed through, just a little tiny bit on my scrap paper, so that's why you want to have scrap paper there when you're using the blends. So this card really goes together very easily with the other layers. I used the silver foil cards, and they come with a matching envelope in the holiday catalog. I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and it measures 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches, and that just layers right up on top with a thin border, a thin white border on the card. And I have a piece of Poppy Parade, and this is 3 inches by 3 inches. So we're just going to add the snowmen to the poppy. Just grab a little bit of liquid glue here. Then I'm going to put the poppy to the embossed layer. This is embossed with the softly falling embossing folder in the Big Shot. So you can kind of decide if you want kind of more snow at the top or more, I like the more snow at the bottom. And then I am going to try to put this with equal borders at the top and the sides. Then I have room to put my ribbon underneath here. And for the ribbon, this is the Poppy Textured Weave ribbon. It's a 1/2 inch wide. I'm going to wrap it around this layer and just tie it in a knot. So I want to make sure it's flat. Oops. Well, when you have an embossed layer, you kind of make sure you're a little bit more generous with your glue because it's sticking to an embossed layer. So let me get that stuck down really well. Okay, so now we're ready to do our flat knot. So I have it going around the entire card. I want the knot on the left side, so I'm just going to bring my tails around. Oh, I probably need more ribbon. So I used an 11-inch piece. You probably need more like a 13-inch piece. Okay, well I can fix that later. I just won't glue it down, but just for the purpose of the video, I'm going to put the sentiment down here in the corner. Okay, so now that's bugging me. So now let me go get a new piece and I will do it correctly. So let me undo it. I'll go cut another piece and then we'll be right back. Okay, so now I have a 13-inch piece poppy ribbon. I'm just going to go flat around the back. I'm going to hold one side down and then pull the other to get a flat knot. And this ribbon is a little bit thicker, so you might have to pay extra postage on this card. And then when I have it how I want it on the other side, I'm going to cut off the tail. And I can kind of make it pretty on both sides. And then pretty much I'm just ready to adhere my card to the base. And we are done. So I hope you'll check out the Spirited Snowmen stamp set. It's so adorable. It's got the great images and some fun sentiments too for winter. And that is my project for today. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you leave me a comment by Monday, November 5th at midnight Eastern, you can have a chance to win this card in the mail from me for tuning in today. So thanks so much. I'll see you again next week.